Old Fashioned Football on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by EdgeBoost, the bank account built for bettors. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with promo code SGPN and get a $25 deposit
Hey, what's up?
bonus.
This is Sam Macho, and you're listening to Old Fashioned Football.
Old Fashioned Football.
You make this deal right now, you pancake eating mother.
All right, deal.
Old Fashioned Football.
Welcome to Old Fashioned Football. If you're wondering who you listen to, this is JMark. You can find me on the X at JMark Football. And if you're wondering who us is, that's at Old Fashioned FB. Before I keep going to talk about all the crazy NFL quarterback news, especially the NFC, I got to introduce my co-host on the pod and in life. You can find her in the X at the Mir. Mark. Mir, how you doing today?
Doing good. We'll just say good.
That was not convincing anybody, I don't think. Doing good.
I mean, I should be prepared for this question, but you know, it's torn between, do you want the honest answer? Do you want the happy answer?
Fair enough. Well, let's talk about something happy, and that's Keeper's Heart.
Yes.
We're going to be talking about them more later in the show, but we had a fun time visiting their distillery on hashtag World Whiskey Day.
I know.
Did I do that right? Do you say hashtag before you're hashtagging when you're talking in person?
No. Let's just say World Whiskey Day.
Oh, okay.
Why are you hashtagging?
Fair enough.
You're embarrassing me.
That's fair. Hey, we got a lot of big stories to cover that we haven't touched on because we had blind barrels. We had a crazy week last week.
I just want to circle back because we did not follow through and we need to follow through. We owe Sean and Kramer.
We do. We owe them a subscription. But I was wondering though, do we wait until the next quarter? Because otherwise
we don't
the
want them to
subscription
get the same. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But we owe.
We do owe.
Because we failed miserably. I'm blaming you.
We didn't fail miserably. Kramer was just a shark. That's what happened.
If you would have been just a few points higher.
I suppose if I would have been a few points. Yeah, because we lost by half a point. Shout out to the chat. Jamie Progue saying, "What's up, nerds? How's it going, Jamie?" And Nick Fortune saying, "Let's fucking go." I saw UFL in there a little bit before we started. To think Caleb would have been in the UFL. We're going to talk about all that. But before we do, what are we drinking today? We
are drinking Keeper's Heart. Finished. It's their Irish American
bourbon.
No, it's the bourbon. Oh my gosh, I messed up already. It's their bourbon finished in PX sherry casks. Now, if you've listened long enough, we did a previous review because I don't know, it was over a year ago.
Yes.
Well over a year ago. We got a store's like barrel select of that PX sherry, and this is Keeper's Heart. Like it's their version of it. It's theirs.
Right. Yeah.
It's what you can go to the distillery and buy.
And we'll talk a little bit more about that.
We'll break that down and kind of not necessarily compare to the store, but a little comparison.
Bad. Real quick, just a reminder, the merch store is running a promo code 20% off everything with promo code DGENS. That's DEGENS, DGENS. And go on over there and get yourself an Old Fashioned Football shirt. I mean, why not? You got it right there. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it live on screen. That one's your favorite. See, I like this blue one with the black lettering. That's my favorite. But Jamie's saying that I'm looking extra Irish tonight. Is my beard oranger than normal?
It is. It's very
now
it's sun bleached.
That is probably accurate.
It's just very bright. I've noticed it's been a lot more red lately.
Yeah.
You've been outside so much. Like your face is even red right now. I think my face looks red too, but
I did spend a lot of time out in the sun, especially last Thursday. So that's part of it. We're also on 720p right now. because we're on 720 instead of the 1080p.
Oh,
So that could
on
play into it.
720p? Yes, we are.
Mark saying, glad you're back. Love the Irish bourbon and drinking whiskey, Irish whiskey. Jamie says that's why
Oh,
it
yeah,
looks
that's
extra Irish.
definitely.
I mean, that could be part of it.
When you drink Irish whiskey, you just take on this Irish look.
That's right. All right. Before we talk some of those quarterback headlines that we teased, the NFL is going to be doing some voting.
Yes. Tomorrow, right? Presumably tomorrow.
Yeah.
On Wednesday. What is today?
They haven't been real clear about. I'm not sure what happened here. They haven't been real clear about what's going on. When they're doing the voting, but yes, presumably tomorrow.
Yes, and one of the things that they're going to be voting on is the banning of the tush push that we have seen, like the Eagles use so often in the past.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
That is stupid. I mean, you can't ban a play just because you can't stop it. That's my thoughts. The Eagles used it on 3rd and short or 4th and short. So if they didn't make it on 3rd and short, then they used it right again. And they got a first down like 90% of the time, maybe a little bit more. I get it. On the defense, you're not allowed to push a player into the offense. So the defenders go, well, you can't do that on offense. But it's basically a quarterback sneak with a guy pushing him. That's been in football for years. I mean, if you look at the CFL, shout out to the CFL Gambling Podcast that I co-host with Colby. We're going to be dropping our first episode, I think, next week. It's always on short and distance. They do a quarterback sneak, and they're always getting pushed. Just learn to stop it. Don't do this whiny shit of let's ban it now.
I disagree with it. Completely. Just get better, I guess.
Yeah.
Get better.
Get better. Nick Fortune saying it won't happen.
We're gonna find out.
I mean, when all these people can't stop it, of course they're gonna vote against it.
Unfortunately,
yeah,
I'll be disappointed if they ban it. Honestly, come on, get better.
Agreed.
The other thing that they're going to be voting on is playoff seeding.
Yes,
this one is like it will change so much if this goes through. So currently, you have your 4 division winners that get seeds 1 through 4, and the next best records get 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah.
The vote right now, is going to be for the seeds to be determined by record.
Right.
Which, I can understand that too, but think of it this way. So, for example, we're talking about tush push. So Eagles, they go 12-5, and they get the top seed.
Right.
The Commanders finish second in that division at 11-6, but let's say the Bucks win their division at 9-8.
I like that you picked the Bucks winning the division. Baker's a dog.
And so rather than the Bucks being getting the higher seed
because they win the division.
Yeah.
Right. The Commanders.
We would see I was like, who did I just say? Commanders. Yes, because I give Eagles, Commanders. So the Commanders would get that, higher seed instead of the Bucks being at the top of their division.
Right. Which
it prevents.
I've seen both. I've seen good arguments for both.
If you're a good team and you deserve to be, I feel like you need to be there. You could have a complete shit division who all the teams
right.
Can't,
like the NFC South, like the Bucks. If they go 9-8, do they still deserve to have that home field advantage?
1 through no.
Just because they won their shitty ass division. When there's a team like the Commanders who had a better record, which I mean that did happen last year, so good example there. I'm torn on it. I get if you win your division, you deserve some reward, but your reward is you're automatically in the playoffs. Your reward shouldn't be that you just get home field advantage, in my opinion.
But at the same time, we have these divisions for a reason.
Right. And if you win it, you're in no matter what. I mean, but
it would just change your seating.
Yeah. I mean, think about the Texans last year. They had to beat the Colts, the Jaguars, and the Titans. Not a hard thing to do to win their division. Do they deserve a higher seed than the Chargers, who made the playoffs but had to face the Chiefs twice, the Broncos twice. No, I don't think so. I think the Chargers should be the higher seed. The Chargers should get the home game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's just my thought on it.
It's different. It's just it's a different
It's a different approach.
Mm-hmm. It's not what we're used to.
No.
So it's just weird.
Well, and it's been the same way for years and years. So some people might say, why change it now? But I don't know. I kind of agree with it. I guess we'll see what happens. We'll see what they vote on, and then we can react. It does affect betting because you can bet like who's going to be a certain seed and all that stuff.
It definitely impacts that.
That will impact that, yeah, for sure.
Because it's a lot easier to say, the best team in this division
we'll get one of those
1 through 4.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
all right, well, let's move on from that and talk a little bit about what's up, Single Malt Frontier. How's it going?
Hello.
We'll be talking some whiskey a little bit later, talking some Keeper's Heart whiskey to be specific. So, since we're Bears fans, there's been a lot of Bears talk recently surrounding Caleb Williams. And so I think our top story has to be all the talk coming out about Caleb Williams and his pre-draft comments that are coming out in this new book.
This book, yes, there is so much talk about this right now. So much so that even while we'll talk about this a little bit more later, not about Caleb Williams, but about Keeper's Heart. We were at the O'Shaughnessy Distillery up in Minneapolis, drinking some Keeper's Heart before a tour that we were going to take, and our lovely tour guide Patrick brought up Caleb Williams.
Yeah,
before he even knew we were Bears fans. This is like the reference, that he wanted to talk about it.
Right.
There's a lot going on right now.
There is. So this book coming out is called American Kings. It's a biography of the quarterback, is the title of it, by Seth Wickersham. It's scheduled to be released in September. So there's a lot of talk about what's in it already, even though it's not released till September by Hyperion Avenue. Yeah, which is actually a division of Disney. So go figure, Disney talking something controversial. We won't get into that. With the book not being out yet, I guess we'll see exactly how it's phrased or shaped, because I haven't seen exactly how it is, just that these are the comments that are in it. But allegedly it contains details of Caleb Williams, and even more so his father, Carl, trying to get out of being drafted by the Bears.
Yes. Yeah, one of the quotes that I've seen thrown out, again, we'll see when the book is physical copy of the book is out. But is that Caleb Williams said he needs to play for the Vikings or find a way to get drafted by them. However, that was a quote, I believe that was basically right after his combine meeting with them. And most quarterbacks love Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah.
Look what he said. Look what he did with Sam Darnold last year. He's kind of a quarterback guru.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely.
You go to a combine with him and you're
hyped up.
You're hyped up. You're this college kid who's going to these NFL teams. You're probably going to have exciting things to say after going to each one of these. So if they're taking a quote from one of his visits,
right. Yeah. And the other part is that his father, Carl Williams, said that he did not want him to go to Chicago because Chicago is where quarterbacks go to die.
Yes, I've seen this too. However,
it's hard to fault him, right? I mean,
is it not true? We have destroyed our quarterbacks for years.
It's true.
We have just
yes.
I'd like us,
especially
with
rookies.
Caleb Williams now. Yeah. With Caleb Williams now, I want that story to change.
Yeah.
But if you look at our past,
it's time to change the narrative.
That quote isn't
sure.
it's quarterbacks don't have the best luck in Chicago.
No, they don't. And trying to get out of the, if you're going to be the number one pick, trying to get out of going to that team, especially for a quarterback, it's not unheard of. I mean, John Elway got out of playing for Baltimore, the Baltimore Colts at the time. That was in the 83 draft. So he got out of that. Eli Manning, he got a lot of people that are new football fans, I guess, or the younger generation. They don't realize he was drafted by the Chargers, but immediately his dad, Archie Manning, kind of helped get a trade going that he got traded to the Giants in 2004.
Dad's interfering.
I know. Well, and speaking of dads, Carl Williams, Caleb's dad, allegedly even spoke with Archie to get details on how he kind of ushered the trade from the Chargers to the
Mhm.
Giants. So, which is, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Even more fuel to the fire of this.
It is. And I've heard like the book even goes on to like allegedly claim that Caleb met with a lawyer, with labor lawyers and agents to weigh different options. I didn't find like anything saying that they met on this specifically.
Yeah.
And it could have all just been him getting prepped for getting drafted. I have a feeling most of these players met with agents or lawyers, especially if you're like top of your draft class. Like you have that.
Yeah.
So
you gotta
is
be
there
prepped.
stuff like being taken out of context here?
Always. I mean, that's what the media does normally,
Yes.
right? One option that was thrown out was that Caleb could have signed with the United Football League, the UFL. Check out the UFL Gambling Podcast that I co-host with Kobe Dant and CJ Sullivan.
It's a good time over there.
Yeah. Which, I mean, had he just gone straight to the UFL, he would have been a free agent. He could have signed with any NFL team. And so that was definitely an option. Again, back when the UFL was in its prime in the 80s, not unheard of. We saw a lot of guys go to the UFL and then get signed by the NFL. But I don't know. The main thing is you're hearing, especially a lot of the tabloids are chirping about this right now. A lot of the bigger networks are chirping about it. A lot of them are leaving out that all of these quotes came out prior to his meetings with the Bears. So,
of course, the media is always going to spin things in a way that's more dramatic, that's more like rumor mill start. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, get people talking, grab people's attention.
Yeah.
And even if parts of it like are true, like maybe it's taken out of context.
Right. Mark pointing out Boomer Esiason said he wouldn't go to the Colts once they moved to Indy. He wouldn't do it. So once they moved from Baltimore, after meeting with the Bears reinforced this idea that Caleb could turn their franchise around. He could be the hero. This is how it was worded: be the hero that Chicago has never had at quarterback. First of all, I know a lot of old school guys are going to argue that Jim McMahon was the hero for the Bears, but a lot of guys like myself, or maybe just myself, which is fine. We had Jay Cutler. He was my hero. He was
your man crush. Was he your hero, or just were you crushing hard on Jay Cutler?
Yes.
All right. Well, I want to talk a little bit more about the right now and this year instead of what was said prior to the draft,
right?
Or who knows when it was said. Right now, he is a Bear now.
Yeah,
as we all know, he's entering his second year. Bears have brought in head coach Ben Johnson, who is supposed to be an offensive guru.
Yeah.
They've added more weapons for him after getting, sacked a league high of 68 times. This poor kid. Last year, they've beefed up the offensive line, which we desperately needed to do.
Yes.
With 2 new guards, a new center. They've drafted a tackle in the second round.
Yeah.
We don't know if he's going to start yet, right?
Right.
I don't think so. But
he's 6'8" though, which I mean, that's not quite as tall as the guy I saw at Hy-Vee yesterday, which freaked me out. I've never seen a man that tall in Winterset, Iowa. But anyways, sorry, go on.
Okay. I was just going to say, things seem to be looking up because
that's what I was doing when I saw that guy. I was like, holy shit, this guy ducked under.
Desperately to invest in our offensive line. Yeah. Desperately need to do that. And I think we took steps in the right direction.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Speaking of the guard, one of them we traded for was Joe Thuney, former Chiefs guard. He's protected Tom Brady. He's protected Patrick Mahomes. Now he gets to protect Caleb Williams. So 3 of the best quarterbacks to ever play in the NFL. Maybe that's a little premature, but we did sign him to a 2-year extension at $17.5 million per year. So he's getting $51 million total in the next 3 years. 33.5 of that's guaranteed. That's something the Bears have not done well at, is investing in the offensive line. It looks like they're doing that now. My biggest question is, does this cause distractions? Do some teammates who are already there when he got drafted, like let's say a guy like DJ Moore, is this looked at as like, hey, this motherfucker didn't want to play with me? And are they offended, or is this kind of an over and done with?
I think it's depending on how out of context things are taken.
Yeah.
Or, but does it cause distractions? Like, look at the timing of the release of it.
Yeah.
Start of the
Right.
season.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
I don't know.
Everybody's going to be reading it and talking about
Everybody's already talking about it.
and it's not even out yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. If you're in the chat, does this distract Caleb Williams and the Bears, or is it just media propaganda? Go ahead and throw in your answer in the chat there.
Mhm.
Look, we talk betting, I talk betting especially. I'll tell you one way to look at this as a gambler, okay?
Okay.
I don't know the exact conversations of what Caleb Williams was told was coming out. Maybe he knew this was coming out. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he gave permission. Maybe it was just like, hey, you quoted this, so we're using it. But it comes out in September, talking about how he wanted to play for the Vikings, not the Bears. Week 1, Monday Night Football, Vikings at Bears,
Yes.
which feels like it's just set up for a perfect storyline. The NFL writers striking
I
again.
think, even as the author of this book, if I'm releasing a book and I'm talking about how Caleb Williams wanted to go to the Vikings, and I'm pre-releasing these quotes, potentially pre-releasing these quotes from the book about how he wanted to play for the Vikings, I'm going to release it on or prior to the Vikings game. I don't know.
Right, yeah.
It's just interesting.
And yeah, it's Ben Johnson's first game, but he's got experience against the Vikings. Obviously, he came from Detroit. It's maybe this is an immediate revenge game for Caleb Williams because this is coming out in this book. Plus, the Bears are going against JJ McCarthy, injured his rookie year. This is also, with all this narrative coming out, he's got to outperform him. Caleb Williams has to outperform JJ McCarthy. So I think Bears -1.5, you can bet it now, is a lock. I've already bet it, by the way.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it's a lock. Hey, did you have anything else, sorry, to add on Caleb Williams?
No, we're just let's wait for the book.
Let's wait for the book.
Let's look at the facts when the books come out, and and hopefully it's facts.
There you go. Hey, we're going to talk about Derek Carr's retirement, Brock Purdy's big payday, and the George Pickens trade, plus some whiskey in a bit here. But first, I got to let you know that we're brought to you by Edge Boost. Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring all gambling transactions are approved. No usage fees, no minimums. Plus, you earn cashback rewards, 100% approval for all betting deposits. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with promo code SUPN. Deposit $25 and Edge Boost will match the deposit. That's edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN.
We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog is going long for the NBA playoffs with their extender bonus. Hop in game 1, and the longer the series goes, the bigger the bonus gets. Plus, now is a perfect time to get in on your NFL best ball drafts. Don't forget to follow our socials. The UFL Pick'em entry that we gave out this last weekend cashed.
Woo!
So go sign up with promo code OFFSGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus credits. That's underdogfantasy.com, promo code OFFSGPN.
All righty. Yeah, we did hit that. And you got to get your extender game going now because the T-Wolves and the Thunder kick off in about 24 minutes. So do that now.
Do it now. Promo code OFFSGPN. All right. Who's next on our list?
Let's talk a little bit about Derek Carr, another NFC quarterback who announced his retirement out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Kind of. Right?
Yes. This is, interesting. There were a bunch of rumors about his shoulder injury earlier around the draft. And he downplayed those. However, post-draft, after meeting with doctors due to the injury and discussing with his family, he decided to retire.
Yeah, definitely interesting. And shout out to Wesley checking in the chat. Good evening. Yeah, from everything I heard, he fought like, oh, I'm not retiring. This isn't that serious. And then he came out and retired. So it's got a little drama to it, I guess. But Carr was drafted. Let's just recap his career real quick.
His career.
Yeah, he was
in
drafted.
A few words.
In a few words. Drafted by the Raiders in 2014. He became a Saint in 2023. He's thrown for a career total of 41,245 passing yards, which that sounds more than I expected. Well, granted, I didn't realize he was drafted way back in 2014. He's thrown for 257 touchdowns last year. He did get injured midseason, finished with only 2,000 some yards and 15 touchdowns. He did have 101 passer rating, though. His first year for the Saints in 2023, he threw for 3,778 yards. Now, remember, they don't have a huge supporting cast of receivers. 25 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and a 97.7 passer rating. Those numbers sound pretty good.
Yeah, for a guy who gets a lot of hate and downplay, he's not a top-tier quarterback, but over 41,000 yards, 257 touchdowns, an average of 92.8 passer rating in his entire 10-year career.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a decent quarterback.
I would say he was more than serviceable. I know you hate that word, right? He was
don't like it.
More than serviceable
Sure.
as a quarterback. There's not been a lot of comment on if the Saints were surprised by this. But I think based on how they approached the draft, they had the 9th pick in the draft and they passed on a quarterback at that point. I don't think they knew he was retiring. I mean, the talk was, well, he's going to miss part of 2025. We know that. But I thought he would probably start kind of like training the new guy,
Yeah.
So I think
it all happened so quickly. Like
it did.
Very quickly. Like as soon as the draft was over, hey guys, I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out. Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, the Saints did draft Tyler Shuck, and head coach Kellen Moore said they will have a true 3-way like battle for who starts at quarterback between Tyler Shuck, Spencer Rattler, and Jake Haener.
Yeah. Which is interesting. Tyler Shuck, he's 26, by the way. So not necessarily a guy.
Not a spring chicken.
Right. Yeah. He's not like this 21-year-old. Now, maybe that's good. Maybe he's matured enough. He's over 25 at least.
So he has his full brain capacity. He's fully matured.
He's fully. I don't know if he's fully matured, but he can definitely get his
own.
Don't they?
I thought it was 25. When you're 25, like
that's what they say.
I think it's more like when you're 30.
I didn't say. Do you think I was fully matured at 25? No. I'm still
can confirm. It was a no.
But he can rent his own car now, so that's important. Now, something to note: Spencer Rattler beat out Jake Haener last year, and Rattler ended up starting had 1,217 yards, 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Haener had 226 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. So something to watch. I mean, I think we know who's going to start, and I don't think it'll be either of those two.
Yeah. One other like interesting part of this equation is that the Saints were expected to cut Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
Who, he's their every position versatile player.
Swiss Army knife.
Yeah. There you go. As a tight end, but he has started at quarterback for them. So does this change that?
I mean, I think, Taysom Hill recently came out and said, no, it wasn't Taysom Hill. It was Chase Daniel talking about how he and Taysom Hill studied with Drew Brees to study film and learn to study film. If you think about Jake Haener, Spencer Rattler, Tyler Shuck, neither of them are a veteran. None of those guys are. So maybe they need Taysom Hill there, even if he can't play as well because of the injury he suffered.
How would you like to be him?
Teach him.
Sorry, we were going to cut you, but now that Derek Carr's retiring, we're going to keep you around.
Right? Yeah. Because I think he's going to cost him around $10.5 million, I think it was. So maybe they keep him around so he can teach these guys like that was another thing with the Caleb Williams thing. He watched film alone. Nobody taught him how to watch film, which is just how we normally fail quarterbacks. He needs to be there to teach these guys like, hey, this is what Drew did. This is what a guy like Chase Daniel did. Like, teach them how to approach the professional game. Or
another option, do they pursue a different veteran like Aaron Rodgers or Kirk Cousins?
I think Kirk Cousins makes a lot of sense. I mean, Kirk Cousins is a good veteran who is probably going to be QB2 to Michael Penix. So the Falcons may want to move on from him. I think that makes sense. I'm never going to advocate for Rodgers. I will never advocate for him.
I think he's a cancer to teams.
I agree.
I don't think I would recommend it, Saints.
Yeah.
But, okay, all that aside, so Tyler Shuck, Spencer Rattler, Jake Haener, who starts week 1?
I think it's Tyler Shuck. And you can bet this right now on certain books. He is the favorite at minus 295 to be the starter. So that doesn't even seem worth it. Spencer Rattler's 2-1, Jake Haener 25-1. So that's kind of where that lies. Spencer Rattler might be worth a little sprinkle there at 2-1.
Just a dusting?
Yeah, just a little bit because he started last year. So maybe they want to give Shuck a little bit of time to adjust. But yeah, I'm not betting Shuck at
Mhm.
minus 295. Fantasy football wise, I have been drafting Shuck though in dynasty leagues anyways. But
Mhm.
otherwise, I'm completely staying away from this team. I'm even concerned with Alvin Kamara because he's been starting to get injury problems anyways. And now you expect he'll probably have a heavier workload with the quarterback
While
questions.
they figure that out, get the
Yeah.
balance, get the team working together better.
Yeah, yeah.
I can see that.
I'm staying away.
Are we done with this?
Yeah.
Saints.
Let's
okay.
put the Saints in the dust.
Let's talk about Brock Purdy.
Okay. Now, I'm curious of Nick Fortune. I saw him in the chat earlier. He's a 49ers fan. I'm curious of his opinion here, but yeah, let's do it.
Yes. So Brock Purdy got his first big payday signing a 5-year, $265 million extension with the 49ers. 181 million of that.
Whew.
So I was trying to do some math here. Is that half? That's almost half. Did I do the math correct? That's not half. It's more than half.
Way more than that.
See? Just trying to do the math.
362 would
yes,
be
I know. I just
twice
realized that would be 360 plus.
2.
Okay. Yes, 2. 1 plus 1, Justin.
2.
So way over half. 181 million of that 265 is guaranteed.
Yeah.
But there's more. This is like the Billy Mays
But wait, there's more.
signing here.
Yeah.
He had a no trade clause.
Yeah.
I guess that's it. No
Well,
Billy
but
Mays.
that is big though. I mean,
Yes.
you think about.
But yeah, he got the no trade clause in that.
Yeah. You think about the money that Kirk Cousins is making right now, and then he kind of tanked, and now they can trade him. That can happen with Brock Purdy.
No. So with the cap hit, like that's a highly paid quarterback.
Yeah.
Is it worth it for them?
And the 49ers fans and maybe Iowa State fans, Hunter Moffitt, I know he's not a Iowa State fan, he's a Hawkeye fan, but Iowa in general.
Yeah.
Purdy got paid, he says. Yeah, he's the 7th highest paid player in the league. And I don't know if he's worth it. I know he deserved to get paid more than the contract he had as Mr. Irrelevant. But this is making him the 7th highest paid player in the league. He didn't start many games in 2022. So let's look at the last 2 years. 2023, 4,200 yards, 31 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 113 quarterback rating, really good. 2024, 3,800 yards, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 96.1 quarterback rating. Only 3 quarterbacks threw more interceptions than him in 2024. That's concerning. That's not 7th highest paid player in the league, is it?
I don't know. Honestly, I think it's kind of hard to gauge the question on is it worth it? I mean, especially in Kyle Shanahan's offense.
Yeah.
It's very quarterback friendly.
Yeah, we've seen several guys. I mean, you think about Josh Dobbs during Purdy's injury. Josh Dobbs came in and looked good in that offense. And prior to Purdy, it was a quarterback friendly scheme, and we saw guys have success. Does that mean he's not as good as the numbers? No, but it is hard to gauge. Is he worth that money?
Are we still going to be concerned about double-digit interceptions?
I mean, we just talked about a guy like Derek Carr, who in the last 6 seasons only has 2 seasons with double-digit interceptions, and everybody says he's bad. So these guys, actually, their stats kind of look similar. So the question is, can Brock Purdy win the 49ers a Super Bowl? He did get them to 1. But he got them to 1 while he was on this bargain 7th rounder contract. Now they don't have the money to build around him as much anymore, right? So that does change that. Or is Brock Purdy, is he going to have a Carr-like career where he's a solid quarterback, he's better than serviceable, he keeps them in games, they make the playoffs, but they don't win any Super Bowls?
I think we also need to talk about so they spent all this money on him, but I think it was just yesterday, maybe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they signed linebacker Fred Warner.
Yeah, that was just yesterday.
A 3-year, $63 million with $56 million guaranteed. They're guaranteeing majority of these contracts, and that made him the highest paid linebacker.
Right. And
so they're spending the dough.
They're spending the dough on 2 players,
and they're locked in. Think about
3. Brandon Ayuk got a big payday, and then he got injured, of course. Fred Warner, Brock Purdy. I think you need more than that in your offense and defense to win. Our Mark saying, is it because he didn't have protection? Caleb Williams got sacked 68 times and still threw less interceptions. So, and their offensive line isn't terrible. Now, of course, they still have Christian McCaffrey. It's hard. Sometimes I forget that because he's been injured for them. They do still have Christian McCaffrey, but in my opinion now, with this payment, I don't know if they can build a Super Bowl team, so they have to do it now. This is a very short window to win the Super Bowl, in my opinion, because you've got the money wrapped up.
So
and
spend the rest of the cash, get the players in there that you need.
Yeah.
And run.
Yeah, I agree. Josiah checking in. Yo.
Hello.
Josiah, we're talking about Brock Purdy getting paid and maybe overpaid. Did he deserve to be rewarded more than a 7th round rookie contract? Of course. But I think it makes everything a lot harder when you have to build around a top paid player like this, who might be a system quarterback. I think he has to outplay this contract to make it worth it. And I don't know if he can. I just don't know if he can. Relating this to a bet real quick.
Okay.
This is, we're going to call these barrel strength bets because it's big odds, right?
Barrel strength. I like it.
Yeah. San Francisco 49ers to finish 3rd in their division is plus 350. If you like 2nd, that's plus 230 because I think the Rams win it. And I think the Cardinals might actually get 2nd. And then the Niners and then the Seahawks. Sorry, Nick Fortune. Yeah. Guaranteed money opens up cap room. That's true. But I still think they have wrapped up too much in Brock Purdy. Josiah says overpaid. RD's checking in. He's been wheeling and dealing in a fantasy football league we're in. We're going to talk about the George Pickens trade coming up here. And don't forget about the whiskey. But before we do, I got to let you know that we're brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm is your home for AI-backed picks and props. Dominate the NBA playoffs, PGA, MLB, and they just launched the WNBA. Get your Caitlin Clark bets in. Rhythm knows you'll love it, and that's why they include a 7-day free trial. Rhythm has some amazing deals going on right now. 25% off a monthly subscription with promo code SGPN25 and 50% off an annual subscription with promo code SGPN50. That's RITHMM, promo code SGPN25 or SGPN50. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. We're also got to let you know about the Circa Ultimate Fantasy Football Giveaway. Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas is giving away the ultimate fantasy football experience for a 12-person league to draft in Vegas and be treated like VIPs for their stay. We all like being treated like VIPs. The winner will receive a 2-night stay at Circa Resort and Casino for their entire 12-person league. Now, it is 6 double king rooms, so buddy up, buddies. And you get to hold your draft at their cabana at the Stadium Swim with a $5,000 food and beverage credit. You can get a couple whiskeys for that. You get limo transportation to and from the airport, a welcome party at the Legacy Club for the league, a reservation at the world's largest sports book with a $500 beverage credit for the league, and a 2-hour open bar package for the league at the Overhang Bar. That's a lot of great stuff.
It is amazing.
And I don't know how you guys do math, but if you have a 12-person league, have all 12 people sign up because that's 12 times the chances of winning. Contest duration is May 5th through June 30th. So get signed up by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CIRCA. We're also brought to you by mybookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet on every sport, including the NBA playoffs for the true degens. The MyBookie money bag. That's where you just spin the wheel and get a random bet. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations, and it's easy to deposit lightning fast payouts using crypto. Get your Dogecoin ready. I already said it, but get the Bears -1.5 for week 1 against the Vikings on MyBookie at -110. Also, a little UFL bet here. Take the Stallions +108 on the money line against the Panthers. They've never lost back-to-back games. Head over to mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN.
I'm thinking that we need to get the old fantasy football gang back together for that Circa Ultimate Fantasy. My gosh.
The friends and friend league that we did with college people.
Yeah, it's like really a college reunion in Vegas for fantasy football.
Exactly.
Get it back together. It's been a couple of years since we've
I
done
think
that
we
league.
should do it for every league. I mean, just enter for every league. Somebody.
Hey guys, we're gonna draft in person if we win this. But no, that league we had our draft board, everything. It's been years since we've done that.
Mm-hmm. It has been.
Everybody's moved in all these different directions, but hey, fantasy football reunion, college reunion in Vegas.
Absolutely.
All right. The last piece of NFL news affecting the NFC. Sorry.
You're going to make it there?
I'm going to make it.
All right.
Which actually happened a couple weeks ago, but we did our blind barrels episode, and then last week was crazy. We don't need to talk about last week. So let's talk about this. George Pickens was traded from the Pittsburgh Steelers to the Dallas Cowboys for a 3rd round draft pick.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we keep talking about this, I see the chat Channing popping in, by the way. Caught the live, but let's go Wolves. Josiah says the Timberwolves. That's in 7 minutes is tip off. Minnesota +7 tonight, says Hunter. I agree. OKC, the Thunder, they may win this series. I hope they don't. I'm rooting for Michael Jordan's illegitimate son, Anthony Edwards, but I do think Minnesota covers tonight. It's just a bad spot for the Thunder. Anyways, the Steelers, getting
George
back to
Pickens.
this. Yes. So the
Circling
Steelers
back.
have DK Metcalf, and I was excited to see Pickens and Metcalf beating the shit out of cornerbacks together because they both seem to lose their cool.
You
and
can lose that excitement because it's not happening.
Yeah. And when we also talked about how good of a situation that would be for a quarterback, but that's gone now. So let's talk about what this means for the Cowboys, I guess.
I mean, they obviously needed more help for Dak Prescott to keep up in this division where the Super Bowl champions, or the Eagles, and also the up-and-coming Commanders, I mean, that both had really good seasons last year.
Yeah.
So they needed to do something.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Dallas had to make a splash for sure. To talk a little bit of Pickens' career, he was drafted by the Steelers in 2022, so he's still a young guy. 2022, 52 catches, 801 yards, 4 touchdowns. 2023, 63 catches, 1,100 yards, 5 touchdowns. Then last year, he had 59 catches for 900 yards, 3 touchdowns. And remember, that's with Kenny Pickett, Justin Fields, Russell Wilson throwing to him. So not exactly great quarterbacks, right?
Yes. CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. I feel like they should now form, one of the better wide receiver duos.
Yeah.
And Lamb already said that they're both wide receiver ones. There's no 1A, 1B, just one.
Right. Just one. And I think I've already said this on the pod many times. I don't think Dak Prescott can lead the Cowboys to a Super Bowl. But I do think this helps him fantasy football wise. I mean, he always kind of puts up big numbers. He just tends to blow games. So I would draft him and feel better about it now that he has 2 legit wide receivers. But I still don't think it makes them better than the Eagles or the Commanders. So I will tell you, though, I'm avoiding George Pickens in fantasy football. And there's a couple of reasons why. One, he goes from wide receiver 1 to wide receiver 2, despite what Lamb says.
They're both ones, Justin.
Yeah, right? Lamb is still going to be the top guy in that offense.
I have to add to this and just put a little twist on this. So the Steelers are notorious for getting rid of receivers at just the right time.
Oh, yeah.
We have seen
Tomlin knows.
Yeah, it's there's just something about it. We've seen Antonio, let's just take Antonio Brown. At the beginning of 2019, they got rid of him, and he went from 6 consecutive seasons over 1,000 receiving yards to just barely over 1,000 receiving yards in the next 3 years combined. They cut him and then boom, he went down.
Yeah.
In 2022, they traded Chase Claypool.
Don't remind me.
This is awful. To the Bears for a second rounder.
Please don't remind me.
I know. Sorry.
And I think we got a 6th rounder for him when we traded him. But anyways.
But yeah, look what he did for us.
Or we might have cut him.
He had 2 years of over 800 receiving yards. He had 140 for Chicago in 2022.
Yeah.
41 in 2023. And then 26 he went to Miami.
Yeah, we cut him or traded him in 2023. I don't even remember. I've
blocked. But then
that
26. Let's just over 800 receiving yards, dropping to 140. dropping to
67 total.
67 for 2023.
Yeah.
Combining
I did
the two
math quick
teams.
for you.
Thank you for doing the math.
One is 2.
So, I mean, that's some like you're talking some really good receivers. They cut them and they just go right downhill. Do we see another situation where the Steelers move on from a really good wide receiver at just the right time? How old is Pickens?
He's 24.
Oh, he hasn't. Oh,
He's a young dude.
So, yeah.
But he does have his ego. He does get in fights.
Mhm.
Maybe there have been signs and Pittsburgh just knew that he was going to decline. I don't know. I mean, Chase Claypool was a young guy when they traded
does
him.
it say something too more about Pittsburgh's offense though?
I mean, it could be their coaching.
That these wide
Tomlin,
receivers could thrive there.
Right.
But
definitely Mike Tomlin has something to do with it. I think he's an excellent coach. I will stick to that, but I'm staying away from Pickens in fantasy football. I'm trusting the Steelers and Mike Tomlin's previous model of moving on at the right time.
Well, did the Cowboys also do enough this offseason?
I mean, they didn't do a whole lot.
Exactly.
They didn't do a whole lot.
I don't
There's
think
still
you can just
questions around
pick
their
up a
run game.
flashy wide receiver
Right.
and
Yeah, no, I
don't
get
know.
that. Yeah. Fantasy football wise, I will buy in on Dak Prescott now because he always does put up big numbers, even if the Cowboys are bad. But I'm staying away from Pickens for sure.
Interesting. So we will not have betting wars if
No, not for him.
Okay.
Unless you think he's going to do great, by all means. Then we're going to spend a lot of time on this last crumb bum, but the biographer and writer of Aaron Rodgers' biography says he thinks that Rodgers will sign with the Steelers by the end of May.
By the end, it is May 20th.
Yes.
Rodgers, I will do the math this time.
Okay.
11 days. 10, just about, because today's almost over.
Yes, true. I heard an interesting thing here that one of the reasons that he and the Jets broke up is because they told him they were no longer okay with him doing the Pat McAfee show. I don't foresee him giving that up, but I also do not foresee Mike Tomlin being okay with that. I don't know. He should retire.
I think that we just don't want that crap for the Steelers. Rodgers retire.
Rodgers just retire. Hunter's saying the listener league should draft in Vegas. Now that would be fantastic.
There you go, guys. Let's get signed up.
Channing saying OKC for the laddie daddy. He's got the Thunder to win the West. Yeah, if they win, that's okay. Just not tonight. How about that? And Josiah saying we had our brief little NBA intermission. I have not followed the NBA for years, but I do like watching Anthony Edwards, and I also do think that he is the son of Michael Jordan. I think he's the illegitimate son of Michael Jordan. So
that's a rumor mill to start.
Well, I didn't start it. There are a lot of comparisons. Yeah, if you look at them, there's photos of them side by side trying to show it.
Oh boy! So this is the thing. I clearly don't pay attention to NBA news.
Right. Let's talk a little whiskey.
Let's do it.
Because we had earlier in the show, we had I'm blanking Single Malt Frontier checking in, and he's here for the whiskey. You can tell that from the name. What are we drinking today?
As I said earlier, we had our old fashions with Keeper's Heart, Irish bourbon finished in PX sherry casks.
Yeah, and we actually just spent Saturday up at the O'Shaughnessy Distillery, which makes Keeper's Heart. Do you want to start talking about it a little bit? You want me to talk about it a little bit?
I would like you to get the bottle.
All right.
Because we before this was available to us.
Yes.
We've partnered with Ace Spirits in the past, who is up in Minneapolis, in the Minneapolis area as well.
Yes. Oh yeah, you can tell them.
You can tell. So this is the store. This is
the one you're pointing at.
Yep.
Is the one from Keeper's
I was
Heart.
trying to point over here.
It's the mirror throws you, right?
It does.
This one is the one we just bought.
Yeah, look at that coloring. When I picked up the bottle, which we got to sample at the distillery due to our interest waiting before the tour of that bottle, and it was.
Go ahead. Sorry, it was what?
Well, it was really good, and the color. When I picked up this bottle, the color is very noticeable how
Yeah.
dark this is. But
I was going to say just one thing. Shout out to Keeper's Heart for always just being, I mean, they're just first class. Walk in. He said, "You're here for the tour." I said, "Yeah, you weren't there yet."
not yet. I was on my way.
Finishing your drinks.
Yes.
You and
Complimentary
your parents,
drinks.
Yeah, you and your parents. Yeah, we got complimentary drinks. I did mine fairly quickly. I was like, I got this. You guys were enjoying yours a little longer. Yeah. So I walk in
the patio punch.
Yeah, the patio punch, which was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And he immediately says, "Oh, you're the podcaster." And I was like, okay. I've never walked into a distillery and they go, "Oh, you're the podcaster." So that was kind of cool because it's not like we were the only ones on the tour.
Mm-hmm.
There were 12 people on it.
Maybe.
Yeah. Anyways, go on then. Sorry, I kind of cut you off.
You're good.
I wanted to, our tour guide was Patrick, who is from England. Now, he was telling us a little bit about this because it's finished in sherry. And he said that every home in England has a bottle of sherry in it. Usually dusty because it's rarely drank, but it's kept around because it's easy on the palate and it's sweet. And he mentioned that when they were kids, at Christmas, it was always like, oh, the kids can have a little nip of sherry, and they would pour a little bit for everybody. And he said, always the
or that it's
bottle.
Like when you're gonna sneak alcohol, the sherry was always there because every home had it.
It's the first drink of any child in England, basically, is what he said. So, I mean, do you want to talk about the tour a little bit? You want me to talk about it?
You're good.
All right. Their tour is awesome. It's very informative. I feel like they do a great job telling you everything about their distillery. They don't hide anything or whatever. You get to walk through the whole distillery.
Their stills are beautiful. I always love looking at like the copper stills, and they have 3 copper pots. Oh my gosh. Nope. Let's stop it. We don't need to get into how you can weld metals and what the weld of certain metals looks like. Like, we're done.
This is a question from your dad, who your parents joined us at the distillery. And he said, "I don't know if that's copper because I don't know if you can weld copper." And then he was questioning the guy.
Like, is it like he wanted to know if it was really like copper on the like the inside because of how because of how the welding was. And I don't know enough about welding, but the joints where it was welded didn't look like a copper welded
he
joint.
Thought it was brass.
These are copper stills.
Yeah, they have 3 pot stills. If you're familiar with stills, they have 3 of the pot still varieties from Scotland. Actually, not from Ireland, from Scotland. And they have 2 big column stills, and then they have a baby pot still as well.
Yes. He was asking questions like my mind. I mean, I have a scientific kind of mind thinking about. I was not thinking about all the mechanics of everything and indirect steam versus direct steam for the distilling process and how that would change. It was just his mind was going.
It was funny.
But it was it's always neat to see like behind the scenes at any distillery. And I think the way that Keeper's Heart has it all, just everything, like just walking through, it looks like. It's just beautiful. It's a beautiful distillery.
It is for sure. Single malt saying ballsy to question the veracity of the industry standard of copper stills. Just to preface that, he's not a whiskey guy.
Nope.
This was his first tour ever. So he just was looking at the weld and going, I don't know if you can weld, because I guess to weld copper, it's got to be in a pressure
like that
controlled
that
chamber, like a pressure controlled chamber to even weld copper to get it to work right, is what he was telling me. So that was kind of interesting to know, but that's probably how they do it, but and then at the end of the tour you get to do tastings, but the tastings are the components that go in their Irish American mix, which is a single grain, a Irish whiskey, and then a rye whiskey. So you get to try all of them separately, and then you get to try their Irish whiskey. So, and Single Malt saying, I know zero about welding. I have welded. I fixed the mower.
Welding knowledge goes, you have the little piece of metal like that you're like sticking to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
That's fair. That's fair.
I don't know how it's going to work. I mean, my dad is like, he's literally
welder.
taking absolutely.
Yeah,
He has
he's a
taken
welder.
the front end of a Pontiac Solstice that got in a wreck. So the back end was like ruined, and he found the exact same opposite where the front end got ruined. He cut them in half, like he welded them together. It passed inspection, everything. Like
Which is a lot to line up. I mean,
it is. It was impressive.
I've never put a car together, but that's a lot to line up.
So I mean, in his mind's always think he has a very mechanical, oriented mind. So he had a good time there, and he was like, thinking like,
I could tell he was kind of digging the science and engineering part behind it for sure. This is their Irish bourbon, which is 41% Irish, 41% Irish, 59% bourbon, and they finish it in PX sherry casks. And what'd you think of it in the old fashioned before you tried it on its own? A little hesitation.
No, it was a good old fashioned. I don't know if I want it in an old fashioned.
It's better on its own.
I think so.
Yeah.
But that's also like in the past me. Would be like, because that would be like a twist.
Past me. In the past, past me. What?
Previous me.
Oh, okay. So in the past, you would prefer it.
Probably, but when something is finished like this and the character that it gives the whiskey, I prefer it just neat.
Neat, yeah. I thought it was good in the old fashioned.
It gave it a twist on the old fashioned. It definitely stood out. Yeah. So in terms of that, like this stands out in your old fashioned. So it was really
which is good for sure.
I don't know if I've tried it neat yet.
I haven't. So while you're doing that, just a little background on Keeper's Heart, which go check out our episode we did with Kate Douglas, a distiller there. But if you don't know, it was started by two cousins, the O'Shaughnessy's. They wanted an Irish distiller, and Brian Nation, who has distilled at Jameson, he was actually the first non-family master distiller at Jameson. And it's
a big deal for him to move.
Yeah, distilled from Middleton. They reached out to him on LinkedIn and they said, "Hey, we're thinking about creating this distillery. Would you be interested?" And he was like, "Haha, funny. If you're ever in Ireland, let me know and we can talk about it."
So they turn around and they go to Ireland like the next
three days later. They had tickets to Ireland and they were like, "Hey, we're in Ireland." So the O'Shaughnessy's must have some money, because I can't just book a trip 3 days later and move to Ireland.
You also aren't in a position to just start up a distillery.
That's true, which I'm sure is also very expensive.
It is.
And to get Brian Nation to leave Jameson, leave Ireland, move to Minneapolis, Minnesota to distill, that probably took a little bit of cash as well. Just a guess. I don't know the details of his contract or
payment.
It's
a neat experience. I don't want to say experiment, but experience, like to create something that hasn't been done.
That's true. And maybe that was part of the allure to it for Brian Nation. And if you go to the distillery in Minneapolis, it is gorgeous. They've won a bunch of awards for their restaurant, for their distillery, for their cocktails. I mean, it is a gorgeous place to go to. So if you ever get a chance, you have to go check it out. Anybody I know that has been there has said like, this is like one of the best places. It's a first class experience. It's not just us. It's everybody we know that goes there says it's a first class experience.
Happy. And it's a good time.
Yeah. I don't think we've ever had a bad waiter or waitress there.
No.
I mean, they're always great. Anyways, you talk a little bit so I can try it.
Okay. Well, what do you want me to talk? I will say, like, trying it. It is I feel like I can tell, like, it is finished in this year. I feel like it picked that up from the barrel very well. Yeah,
you get a lot of the sherry.
I was gonna ask you, can you grab the bottle, because I don't remember what the proof was, and I don't think we went over that.
14.
Okay, because I was gonna say that part. It seems like it's higher. Nope. That's the select. So this will be lower.
110. This is 114. So the one that Luke did at A Spirits is actually 110. This is a 114 because it is a single barrel. Now, I don't know if you remember, but when we talked with the distiller Kate Douglas about the A Spirits one, she said if it was her, she would have left it in a little bit longer.
And I think that they were on point with leaving it in.
That's probably why this is darker.
Yes.
They probably left it in longer.
And I know, like, that one, it's cool to be able to do like a barrel select for a store, and that's gonna be, you're stopping it at the point that you want it stopped for that barrel select.
Well, and everybody has their different tastes. So what?
But I really, really like this.
I agree.
I
do
prefer
think-
this to the Barrel Select one.
I agree with that.
Mhm.
This is very good. The thing with Keeper's Heart whiskeys is they're all easy to drink, but not because they lack character. You know, sometimes when you say, "Oh, this whiskey's so smooth," it's because it doesn't have a lot of
Irish whiskey
character.
traditionally is like
That is part of it. Yeah,
smoother, lighter.
smoother, lighter. But this is still 114 proof.
Well, I can tell that it's a higher proof whiskey when I'm
Yeah.
drinking it.
But it's so easy to sip and drink, though. This is
like a around the fire pit.
That's what I was just getting ready to say.
Fire
I was going to
pit
say
whiskey?
bonfire, but yeah, this is a great sit around the fire
Mhm.
pit sipper. Besides the sherry fruits, are you getting anything else from it? I have an interesting note that's popping up, but I don't know if you'll agree with it.
There is. It's like right in between, like in between the flavors that are hitting you.
Yeah.
What is it? What are you?
Okay, so we made a drink that did not turn out well with molasses.
You're getting molasses from
I'm
this?
getting a hint of molasses to it. Not
was
in the drink that
thinking-
didn't turn out way, but in a good way. A sweeter molasses taste, a little bit of vanilla, and then the sherry fruit, like the baked fruit notes.
I can see the vanilla.
Yeah,
hmm
which is probably from the bourbon. You know, it's 59% bourbon. Vanilla is a pretty.
I don't know if I get
Popular tasting
molasses.
note.
Molasses isn't the one. Well,
I'm getting it.
you're getting it. My taste buds are not.
That's fine.
What did we
usually
learn
get
from doing
different-
the blind barrels?
That we get a lot of different notes, that you have a better flavor profile. That's fair. Single malt frontier, smooth and light are valid design goals for a product. So he tries not to be negative on
Mhm.
things that do those well, even if it's not the preference. Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you think about Blanton's, I think it's very smooth, but it's not something I really enjoy drinking. I know that's their goal, to make a good palatable whiskey.
I think
But I mean, if it
When
came down to
you-
Blanton's and this, I'd pick this any day.
yes, because I think we like more
Could you-
complex.
yeah. That's a good
Complex
way.
flavors, complex.
Yeah. Characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
In
this,
our whiskey,
this
because
is
we've
much more complex
Mhm.
for sure. I'm still getting molasses. Well,
I don't know. This packs heat.
you think
Like,
so?
I'm
not getting a lot of heat.
feeling warmed from it.
I have drank more of my old fashioned than you, so that may be part
That's
of it.
why.
Before I forget, shout out to Haley at Keeper's Heart, who set up
Mhm.
the tour for us, has worked with us since we've had Kate on. Just is always great to us. So we appreciate you so much. Shout out to Patrick, who did an amazing tour. I thought
Yes.
he was a lot of fun.
We've been on 3 tours at the O'Shaughnessy Distillery,
Yeah.
and each one is like unique in its own way. We saw some areas I hadn't seen before,
Yeah.
but then it's also like their way of telling it, and
Mm-hmm.
it's
They do a good job telling the story. and
entertaining.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, we've had 3 different tour guides so far. One, I think, the first one was somebody who does regular tour guides.
we had Kate.
Then we had Kate Douglas, the distiller, who's been on our show. And then we had Patrick, who I believe is actually the restaurant manager, but
I think so.
has been there for years. So, I mean, he knows the product very well. Great food there. So I can't stress enough that if you're in Minneapolis, go there. Even if you're not, go there. Like it is a really, really good place. And you have to check it out. It's just my opinion. Now, the stressful part. I know we're very, very partial to Keeper's Heart, but we got to try to keep this as honest of a rating as possible.
Okay.
So we do.
Oh, our rating scale. I
Yeah.
was like, what do you mean? Like,
we do
are
1
we
through
gonna-
5,
yes.
4 different categories. First one, presentation. So
Well, I've
bottle
already
label.
given the presentation. Like, I like the Keeper's Heart bottle so much that they get the 5
They get the 5.
because the
It's
shape of the
unique.
bottle is unique. It has I love when any whiskey company has I don't know what you call that, but the glass.
the raised
raised glass.
Yeah, that has their
And
name, which
we're drinking out of these used to be bottles, Keeper's
Yeah.
Heart bottles. So you can do that, and I would even use this as a vase for like
Yeah.
flowers. If I've done that with whiskey bottles. I've removed the labels after we're done.
If you go
And
to the
I've used it as a
restaurant,
vase.
it's their water.
It's the water
pour.
decanter. So
Yeah,
it's like
which
a
is
very
cool.
versatile
Bristol.
bottle when you're done with it.
Yeah.
But it's also like it's eye catchy. Like,
It is.
catches your attention. And the label is I like their labels. A lot went into it.
Single Malt Frontier, curious if you've had any Keeper's Heart whiskey. I know this is not a single malt, but they do have a Irish single malt 10-year, which is also very good. We've not done that on our show. We did get it recently, but we've not done a review of it yet. We haven't.
So, one more thing with the bottle.
Yeah, go on.
Even the stopper has like Keeper's Heart on it.
Yeah.
There's just so much detail on the bottle.
There's a lot of detail.
Which it impresses me.
Yeah, I like their logo with the Fuji Aura. Time is now, or
time
flies. Sorry, time flies.
Time is now.
Time is
yes,
now.
Time is now.
Time flies. I like that. So 5 on design. Let's go to in a cocktail.
I would do.
I was a 5 on the bottle as well. I really like. It's not. It looks, when you first glance, it looks like typical shape, but then you start seeing the other details on it. That
I
really
think
stand
there
out.
might be a better cocktail than an old fashioned for this, or a different spin on how we make our old fashions. Because when we do our old fashions, we do our standard like on every show. We
try to keep it consistent.
Yeah.
I agree. A variation, or I maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like this would be really good in a Manhattan.
I was thinking that too, but I don't really drink Manhattan, so I was like, am I right there? In an old fashioned, because that is what we need to be rated on. I would say it's a 3.
3.
We
actually rate on cocktail, not just old fashioned.
Well, we didn't drink the right cocktail with it.
I'll go 3.5. I think it was good in the old
stands
fashioned.
out.
Yeah.
And that is why it's not like it stands out. I just don't think that we made the right cocktail for it.
That makes
I think
sense,
there's a better cocktail for this bottle if you're not going to drink it neat. Drinking it neat, yes.
Yeah. So let's go nose. What do you think of the nose on it? You get another sniff in there.
It's amazing. It's so sweet. It smells like a dessert.
Yeah. It smells like it is reminiscent of sherry or like a port. It's just got
baked goods.
Baked goods. Yeah. The baked fruit too. That all stands out.
Like a baked goods with like a brown sugar crumble top.
Now that's all I'm smelling.
Not molasses. Hungry. I think it's brown sugar, which I guess.
I still think I think it's molasses.
No,
myself,
brown sugar.
But anyways, on the nose,
It's on point.
It's on point. I'm gonna go 4.5 with it. What do you think on your nose?
I mean, what do you want more of or less of for it to be a 5?
That's a good question.
Because it doesn't burn. Like a higher proof whiskey sometimes burn.
Right.
When you smell, there's nothing like that.
Right.
It smells
now
like
you're making me feel bad.
Like I want to just eat the
eat
the whiskey.
Eat the whiskey. Eat the whiskey.
I would go a 5 on the nose palate.
All right, you bumped me to a 4.8. I'm trying not to be too biased because I love this distillery.
No, take that out of. Just smell it.
I know I'm trying, but I feel like if I just give
it smells like a dessert. Like so for me, like with my sweet tooth,
I'm sticking with 4.8.
Okay.
Taste the palate, which includes the finish. Again, very drinkable. You really pick up the sherry, but I'm getting vanilla and molasses with it.
Vanilla and brown sugar.
You're getting vanilla and brown sugar. It is very
sweet.
So
it depends. Like
this is great. Like you said, that I was getting ready to say, by the fire pit or a bonfire.
It's definitely like a sipper. Well, sherry is like a dessert.
Right, a dessert.
Yeah. It's definitely one where it's like a sipper and stuff. So I don't know.
Think of if you're in the Midwest, think of a colder fall night. You're sitting by the fire. This is warming you because it's warming.
And it does. It heats the proof heats your body. Like my body is really warm.
And the finish is nice because I still have like the sweetness of the sherry right now. And I haven't taken a drink for a little bit now.
Because of my preferences, I'm going to go a 4.
Okay. See, this is good. This is why I dropped a little on the nose. I'm going to go a 4.5.
Okay.
I mean, this is, to me, it's a top-notch whiskey. There's not a lot that I can think of that I would reach for over it. You know,
and you can I don't know, when you're tasting it, you can get the bourbon. I can tell like there's some Irish element to it, like an Irish whiskey element to it.
Now there are some whiskeys that in the summer I'd be like, oh, that's a good summer whiskey. I don't know if I would want to reach for this on a hot day.
Rainy cold, like it's a rainy cold day today.
Yeah.
And this is perfect.
Which is funny. You say a rainy cold day today. I was on lunch break doing a little work outside and it was only 60 degrees out and the sweat was pouring off me like it was 80. And I'm like, what is happening? I don't know if it was just humid out. I don't know.
I mean, it's rainy. We're in May.
We are in May.
The weather here is not treated us well. It was like it's like 90 last week.
Right. Yeah. Anyways, it's a really good whiskey. It's a really good distillery.
If you can get up there, and because this wasn't, this is the first time I've seen this available. We were up there.
It was one of their newest.
It's one of their newest. They also have one that we got to try, which was also, it was interesting. I loved this more, but it was, was it their Irish American or their Irish bourbon?
I think they're Irish bourbon. And it was Amaro finish.
It was, in Amaro cask.
But he said the Amaro took over so much they had to add a little bit of bourbon with it.
Yes.
To blend it.
So, but that one is also available now at the distillery.
Mark checking in saying, Keeper's Heart Irish Bourbon Cask Strength is a great fantasy football draft day drink if you want 4 quarterbacks.
If you want 4 quarterbacks. Yep, we've seen that happen.
I love it. That was in a non-super flex league, if I remember correctly. So,
well, I have seen, I also kind of think that he did this to me because of my complaints of people who draft 4 quarterbacks in a non-super flex. Yes.
Oh, you think he did that, or you think other people have?
No.
Okay.
I think your dad did.
All right.
No, because that was shortly after the time where I was really complaining about Brandon.
Yeah.
In his every year.
Yeah.
When there's just absolutely no need for it, and the bench space we have in that league is like limited.
Right. And it's not a super flex.
Flex league.
Yeah. So you think he was doing that to
I think he heard we'd just gotten done with one of those episodes where I was complaining.
Or maybe he had a lot of Keeper's Heart Irish bourbon.
I think it's a combo. But he wasn't the only one. That was in our family league, and my dad also drafted 4 quarterbacks.
The dad's drafted 4 quarterbacks.
Like, what is going on?
By the way, make sure you follow Keeper's Heart Whiskey on Twitter. They're doing a thing right now that if you post a video of yourself with a bottle of Keeper's Heart dressed like a dad doing dad things, they will send you a free dad hat. So, yeah. Why not? I mean, why not? It's a free hat. Why not? Anyways, that's an upcoming celebration of Father's Day, of course, next year or next month.
Next year. We're skipping this year.
Next month. I don't remember them doing anything like that for Mother's Day, but maybe I missed it. Do you have anything else? As I'm joking, do you have anything else you want to add? I mean, that we covered the crazy NFC news with the quarterbacks and George Pickens. We covered the Keeper's Heart Irish Bourbon PX cask or PX Sherry finished. Can't talk, which is very good. Covered how amazing the distillery is. Go check it out. Otherwise, if you can't get up there, find a bottle. I'm sure they are distributed pretty well. So
they make an old fashioned ready to drink. Yes. I want to highlight that quick because we are very picky with our ready to drink cocktails. We've tried a lot of them, and we have found that they're more misses than they are hits.
Yeah. But
we have found a couple that are hits. Like we will recommend to people. One is a distillery right here in Iowa. Cody Road, old fashioned. That one is good. They got it right. But the Keeper's Heart old fashioned, that is also a go-to of ours, and we got to pick up another bottle of that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very good. In fact, we went to the casino after Keeper's Heart, went to Mystic Lake Casino to celebrate Addie's birthday. Shout out to Addie, happy birthday. But that's what I was sipping on, the Keeper's Heart old fashioned. You get a room at a casino, you just go back and you pour a little on the glass and you walk into the casino
and they will never let you in there again.
Right. Do not tell Mystic Lake about that.
About you smuggling Keeper's Heart old fashions into the casino.
But if you're at the casino, let me tell you, don't play their blackjack tables. My dad or your dad and me got cleaned out.
They didn't
by
have any
their
$10 tables.
No, $20 minimum. It's a little rich for somebody who's not a professional gambler. But play the Buffalo game. I don't even remember its name.
There's
You'll
so
know
many
this-
Buffalo
the
games, but it's
game.
Buffalo game. The Buffalo
Yeah.
game.
And play Huff and Puff.
Huff
That's
and
what
Puff.
we had luck with.
Three Little Pigs
Yeah. Well, it's called Huff and Puff.
because of the Three Little Pigs.
Yeah. Well, and the Big Bad Wolf. But yeah.
For the Three Little Pigs.
Go play those if you're at the casino, and you probably will win some money. We had good luck on those. It was fun. Anyways, anything else you would like to add before we get up on out of here?
No.
All
we are
right.
Good.
My old fashioned is almost gone. We still need a new sign off tag line, but for now, going once, going twice.
Sold.